Hello, everybody. Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this edition of Monday Morning Musing. Today, I want to talk to you briefly about the theme of deconstruction. It's a word that's kicked a lot around in social media, and it generally has come to refer to the demolishing of previously held Christian beliefs and coming to a different set of beliefs. Now, deconstruction, it's an okay term if that deconstruction is managed. For instance, if you're doing a renovation, let's use an architectural analogy. If you're doing a renovation, you have a project manager, you have a supervisor, and the deconstruction is supervised. So you don't violate city code, you don't blow up the neighbor's building, and after you deconstruct, the intention is to build something in its place. If you mix deconstruction with Western, primarily American cultural individualism, you get a toxic combination. And here's what happens, is that people who deconstruct in isolation end up deconstructing themselves into oblivion. Otherwise, unmentored deconstruction will lead you into spaces and places that you think are like spiritually illuminated. I see stuff like this. I don't need anyone to teach me anymore. All those years I was in the church and I had to submit to the pastor and I had to listen to what the pastor said. And I've been set free. And I now realize that I am God and God is in me. And I don't need anyone to teach me anything. I get it directly from my God, because he and I are one. God is me and I am God. There are 58 exhortations in the New Testament to the importance of one another. And scripture study, the Christian experience itself, was never intended to be engaged in isolation. And what will happen if you do unmentored deconstruction, you will end up embracing things that you think are new that are 2,000-year-old garbage pits that people smarter than you and I declared to be garbage pits years ago. You'll fall into cynicism or a lack of hope, and you'll just be vulnerable for any kind of nonsense. And listen, I don't do Facebook much anymore because it's bad for the soul, and I believe it's bad for civil society. That's my conviction. You can do whatever you want. It's your business. But it is all over Facebook. These deconstructed folks who've discovered like the Gnostic writings or New Age mysticism, and they've thrown off the shackles of oppressive white patriarchal Christianity and these ridiculous creeds that were man-made. Listen, these were intelligent guys who were trying to struggle with some difficult issues. Does that mean those creeds are flawless and can't be improved? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're infallible. Am I saying that the post-apostolic fathers had everything together, had their act together? No, I am not saying that. But what I am saying is, if you deconstruct to nothing, your deconstruction is not helpful. It's just going from one ditch to another. You've gone from the ditch of controlling, authoritarian, man-made, pastor-driven, authority-intoxicated, leadership-intoxicated, misinformed, malformed, bad theology, Christian Western evangelicalism, into the oblivion of subjective spirituality. It's just New Age and Gnostic, and it's nothing new. But because most people's sense of history goes about back as far back as last Tuesday, and they haven't read a book, they think that their thing that they're experiencing is some sort of new discovery, that the white male patriarchal hierarchical power structure was suppressing to keep the spiritual truth away. It's just not true. So, supervised deconstruction with an intent to rebuild. Work the architectural net with superior materials, better design, better understanding, better foundation. And I know Jesus Christ is the only foundation that has been laid. I understand that. Just limited metaphor. Yeah, I believe in that kind of deconstruction. But deconstruction that leads you to individualism, isolationism, you don't need anybody, you don't need to read a book, you're going to, you just have this mystic experience with your God concept. That's not helpful. That's not helpful to you as an alleged follower of Jesus. And I would say many no longer are followers of Jesus, or they have created a Jesus separated from the realities of his cross, separated from the realities of his representation, his accurate representation of his Father, and separated from the realities of the problem of sin. And I am not talking about sin consciousness. I don't believe in sin consciousness. But I have noticed that in a lot of these emerging points of view that people who deconstruct, there's very little conversation about sin. It's all about God and their union with God and their mystical this and that. Sin is real. Sin is a problem. Yes, I believe it has been misrepresented. I don't believe in the Augustinian definition of it. I don't believe in the Augustinian interpretation of it. But a theology that doesn't take the issue of sin seriously, it's just fantasy. Just make up whatever you want. Have whatever God image you want. Make up a Jesus. If you're a gun-toting Westerner, make up your Rambo Jesus. And if you're a left-winger, make up a Che Guevara Jesus, and make up any Jesus that you want. No. Well, I was hurt by the leaders in the church. You're talking to somebody who was violated for 20 years by authoritarian, corrupt leadership in Christianity. So I know about hurt. Just about destroyed my life, my marriage, my family. I understand church abuse by crummy leadership. But if that painful experience leads you to deconstruct and isolation, I pray for your soul. I really do. I pray for you. Don't do it. Unsupervised deconstruction just leaves a pile of rubble. See you the next time.